Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, boys, girls, in-betweens, none of the above. This is AP bringing you another Attila. This time a tournament match being recorded live with my good friend, the Prussian Prince.
Hello there, APers.
APers.
APers, Admiral Pricers, I guess.
So this is a tournament that is being done by Total War Russia, I believe. Yes.
It's Russian Total War, sort of like, it's basically like a forum. The Russians.
The Russians.
The Russian community.
Which us Americans might remember, the guys that we beat during the Cold War. Oh yeah. And we freed the world from communism, and we were awesome. Oh yeah, America.
But yeah, the name of the tournament is Fury of Barbarians, and we are in. I believe this is the quarterfinals. Yeah, that's the stage we are currently in, and it's a best of 5 between Danko of TWR clan and Panda Warrior of Agni clan, which I happen to be in as well. So clearly, I'm not going to be biased during this commentary.
No, not at all, not at all. I used to be in agony. No, I didn't used to be in agony. Did I used to be in agony?
Maybe you used to be in pain. What? Sorry?
In sorrow. In emotional agony. I think I used to be in agony. No. I was in the Archangels.
Yes.
A lot of whom went into agony.
Not sure actually who from A went into agony. I don't remember.
Because the Archangels like disbanded because like Judas or something.
Anyway, game started. So do you want to go over the build of the Burgundians?
Alright. So the Burgundians have a crap ton of heavy melee infantry, a crap ton of bows, and a crap ton of cav. They have these 3 Germanic bows in the front, the 4 Germanic archers in the back, and behind that is the Burgundian axemen, which are tier 2 two-handed axes, and then these royal lancers, which is the cream of the crop of the Burgundian cavalry, and then they have brought the light axe general, the Burgundian guard.
Okay, it's very, very nice build by Danko here, and again, Bronze 1 upgrade is the most important one, generally, because it gives the most stats for the cost. Anyway, I'm going to go over Panda's build now. We see his Nordic Warlord General. He is a Brace General, that is the ability he has chosen. Then we have on each flank 3 Nordic Horse Lords. This is pretty normal stuff, as Nordic Horse Lords are insane cavalry units. They all seem to be Bronze 1, yeah? No, we actually have 3 of those on the left flank and 2 on the right. 1 is actually in the center. We have some skirmishing units as well, 4 Nordic hurlers, but they will stand no chance against all these Germanic bows and Germanic archers. We also have some infantry units. Let's see, 2 Royal Huscarls on the left flank and 2 on the right. Pretty much expected, I guess. Very nice units to bring. Center contingent, we have, let's see, an elite Nordic warrior supported by 2 herdmen. Herdmen are really nice for your center because they have shield wall, and the engagement is starting. We also have warhounds that are blocking the charge of the Royal Lancers. That's a really good move, by the way, over here. It allows his own Nordic Horse Lords to charge in without taking damage from the Royal Lancers.
This is one thing that I was worried about when I saw the center of the Burgundian line, is that there is absolutely nothing to stop a single cavalry unit from wrecking his archers. And so what you saw was just a beeline by one of these Nordic Horse Lords right into the archers, taking out a lot of the skirmish advantage that he started with. So even though the large skirmish advantage existed in the beginning, the inability to support them properly may have significantly hurt
Well,
his chances to win the skirmish battle.
the thing is, he killed a Germanic bow unit, but at the end of the day, he sacrificed his whole Nordic Horse Lord unit just to kill that one skirmisher, and the Germanic bow is like very, very cheap in comparison. So I actually think that wasn't too bad for Danko, because he got rid of that cavalry unit very easily. But yeah, looks like Panda Warrior is doing very well on his left flank. Again, the Royal Huskarls are really pulling their weight in here. They are more than a match for the Burgundian Axemen. Ooh, this charge is important as well.
That was one thing that we also saw, is that flanking, or right behind the Nordic Horse Lords in support, he had deployed his Nordic Huskarls, and that is probably in anticipation of the main cavalry battle being done on this area right here. And so because of that, he is expecting that the cavalry will engage like this, and then he'll swing his Nordic Huskarls around like this and use their insane charge bonus to finish the job, and that is exactly what happened. So that was good thinking on Agony's part.
Yes, and over here he also made another nice move. He once again blocked the charge of the Royal Lancers with the Warhounds, because he pulled the Nordic Horse Lords behind. And now he got into the Germanic Archers as well, which means they can't fire anymore and they will die to those Nordic Horse Lords, despite them being only 14 left. Still though, the right flank of Panda is not doing too well, as his... look at these Royal Huskarls. This is exactly what you don't want to happen. They got charged by Royal Lancers and they are getting destroyed. That's a really bad trade for Panda.
If we go into the overview from the top, we can see, if we make just a clear split, that the Agony player has controlled the left flank, and the Danko has controlled the right flank. Now, the question now is going to come: how can they consolidate their wins? The real problem for the Agony player is that Danko still has a good amount of his Burgundian Royal Lancers left.
Yeah, and they're actually, I think they're being wasted here. They just charged into a Nordic Roller. That was kind of like, that was really unnecessary, because now he's going to get his Royal Lancers surrounded and killed off. That's not a good move by Danko there. This one unit is just gone off the field.
Although perhaps, considering the terrible missile block chance of the Royal Huskarls, perhaps the most important advantage here is actually the skirmish advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say 100%, but if he keeps losing cavalry like that, there's still cavalry left on the field for, actually there isn't.
There is no
Panda
cavalry
actually
left.
lost. His last cavalry unit was this one, and it just routed, I think, so... But huge mistake here by Danko though. He just engaged his general, his Burgundian guard, in melee with Royal Huskarls and Herdmen. Might lose him the game. His army might get chain routed, and that would be insanely bad for him.
What he needs to do is realize his situation, that he has a clear skirmish advantage, and he had the remaining cavalry.
Oh,
if he
now
had
it's
retreated, and now he's going to master up. But if he had retreated his men after that significant loss of cavalry on the part of Agony Panda Warrior, he could have reformed his skirmish line and forced the Huskarls to walk into missile damage, and just kited him around, using up all his ammunition, and then charging what remains with his Royal Burgundian Lancers.
Yes. And actually there was a Nordic Horse Lord left at the end, which I actually didn't see because it was part of the blob, I think, so I didn't notice the unit. But yeah, that was an interesting game for sure. But again, the engagements on the right flank for Danko went really poorly for him, because he didn't, first of all, he didn't get a charge with one of his Royal Lancers because it got stopped by the Warhounds. And then that's really, really bad for Royal Lancers, because Royal Lancers really need their charge against Nordic Horse Lords. Otherwise, they're just gonna lose horribly. And the Burgundian Axemen really can't hold a candle to the Royal Huskarls. There were more of them though, so yeah. And the bows were unable to pay for themselves, because he brought so many of them, and they didn't really seem to be able to do too much in this game. I mean, if he got rid of Panda's cavalry, and then he could have just skirmished around, but he didn't, and at the end he lost his general. I'm really not sure why he engaged him like that at the end. That was just a poor decision, I think, because if he had kept his general, he may have still been able to win by just kiting around, I think, but at that point it was just over after losing his general. Yeah, that's game 1, so we shall see you in game number 2.
2, 1, go.
And we are back with the second game of this match between Danko of TWR and Panda, Warrior of Agony. Joining me, as usual, is Admiral Price.
Attila!
Yes.
Indeed. So, did we introduce our factions, the Alani and the Langos?
Yes. Alans for Danko, and Langobards for Panda Warrior. Normally I would say that the Alans are favored. Well, they would have been if they had Noble Alani Cav, but without Noble Alani Cav, I'd say that the Langobards have a better chance of winning this.
Both are, however, very strong factions because both are something Germanic.
Exactly.
However, the Langobards, being the DLC faction, is actually an upgraded version of the something Germanic.
Exactly. So, like, what the Langobards have here is, well, in the cavalry contingent, they're basically even. But when it comes to skirmishes as well, just because they both have Germanic archers. Regarding the infantry contingent, though, that is an interesting one because Alans have elite Agathyrsi warriors, whereas we have Goddansmen, horse hewers, and horse slayers for Langobards. Anyway, I'm gonna go quickly, I guess, over the build of the Langobards so that we don't miss the engagement. We have 3 Germanic archers on the left, 3 Germanic archers on the right flank for Panda Warriors, so 6 in total. We see a Germanic noble general with brace. We have 3 noble Germanic horsemen on the right flank. Very good choice, expected though, I guess. 3 noble Germanic horsemen on the left flank as well. For his infantry contingent, we have a horse hewer on each flank, bronze 1. We have a lot of Goddansmen as well. Let's see how many Goddansmen. 1,
Warren
2,
Center.
3, 4, 5 Goddansmen. I think. Yeah, it's 5 of those, and 1 even has a bronze 1 upgrade. So very, very nice build here by Panda Warrior. We'll see how he uses it. Now, what do we have for Danko?
For Danko, he has 4 Germanic archers. For his infantry contingent in the center, he has 6 elite Agathyrsi warriors. And for his cavalry contingent, on each flank, he has 3 Alani horsemen with 2 upgrades each. With 1 upgrade each, and at least a couple have 2 upgrades. And then in front of his Alani horsemen, he has a pike on either flank.
Yeah. Actually, he doesn't have 6 Alani horsemen. He has 4 of them, 2 on each flank. The other cavalry unit is a
Right,
noble
he has
Germanic
the
horseman.
Germanic
Yeah.
nobles. Yes.
It's a good choice because it has encourage, so essentially it gives an aura to nearby units and make sure that they don't rout as quickly because it boosts their morale. But here we have the skirmishing engagement. And it looks like it's gonna go well for Panda because he has 6 compared to 4, so superiority in terms of numbers. Definitely Panda should get the better end of that trade.
The thing that I'm somewhat concerned about is that Attila is a game of horses, and the one advantage that we have for the Alani player is he has an infantry advantage. I'm not really sure how well that infantry advantage is going to go, especially since he has shieldless infantry, and he's losing the skirmish advantage.
Yeah, and actually, over here, this engagement, should go very decently for Panda Warrior because his horse hewers can get in there. And over here, this is going to be an interesting one, but I think Danko is going to end up losing it as well because Godan's men aren't there, and looks like that Alani horseman is going to be off the field. But both players supporting very nicely with their infantry, though, the cav engagement, so they're both doing quite well in this battle, though I feel like the pikes are not really doing what they need to do for Danko at this moment. Again, pikes are really difficult to use. As you can see, the one on this flank is only gotten 8 kills and it's down to like 80 men. And Danko making, I believe, a pretty big mistake in the center here. He's chasing with Agathyrsi warriors, those Germanic archers, and I think that's... They're just gonna get shot down by the archers. And look at how quickly this unit is falling. It's such an expensive unit dying to all those archers.
And the main problem that you have here, honestly, on the two flanks, I'm going to go into the because this is basically over, this battle here. What you had Danko doing is you had him deploying on the two flanks with a pike in the front and then 3 cavalry behind. And it seems like when you deploy like that, you think that the enemy is going to run right into your pikes, or that you will be able to somehow use the pikes to support a very fast-moving cavalry battle. I think that would have been better if he had either horse hewers, which the Alani don't have, unfortunately, or a good spear unit instead of pikes.
Ooh, the thing about Gunnansmen is, though, that they can berserk, so you gotta be really careful about that. Ooh, the cavalry getting into the Germanic Noble General, though. This is huge here. If the Germanic Noble General of Panda dies, could be really bad for him, actually.
It could indeed be very bad, and this might be the only chance that he has to win. But he's pulling out now because he's being surrounded, and no, the Noble Germanic Horseman is not going to be able to defeat the Germanic Noble, particularly now that he's being showered with some arrows.
Yeah, it's not flaming though, so I mean, he should use flaming if he wants to kill cavalry.
Indeed.
Quicker.
Indeed, he should use flaming. That is definitely a oversight on his part. But they're not doing amazingly well on the charge. That might be because they're exhausted.
Yes, and they're kind of few right now, so it's not like their charge is going to be amazing anyway. But I really don't see Danko pulling a win here. He just once again overextended on both flanks, I think, and I think that's what cost him game here. And then also in the center, with those Agathyrsi.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to go into the top-up screen view here and talk about the overall plan that he had. He had the elite Agathyrsi in the center like this, right? And then he has 4 Germanic bows in front. And he has 3 cavalry on either side and then a single pike in front of that cavalry. What is it that you are wanting to do with this formation setup? What you're trying to do with this formation setup is win some sort of a skirmish advantage in the center, and then send in your infantry right from the front, and expect that your pikes will be able to help your cavalry in a straight-up cav fight. Basically, what you're expecting the battle to do is go something like this. The enemy charges you front, you charge the enemy from the front, and your left charges their left, your right charges their right. That's not how games are actually played. Very few games are actually played like that. And so when you present a formation like that, the moment your opponent moves one way or the other, your entire system of defense and offense and whatnot is completely broken up. And so you have to have a much more flexible formation and a much more flexible way of actually knowing how to deal with that. The army compositions also were a little strange, because if you're going to bring elite Agathyrsi warriors, you have to know that if you're going to bring 6 of them, you have to know that that is going to be your core. That is how you are going to win and how you are going to lose. The rest of his army was not built to actually support that core. He needs to make sure that they are protected from cavalry and protected from skirmishers, because elite Agathyrsi warriors without shields and good deflection die to skirmishers. And so what ends up happening is when he only brings 4 Germanic bows, he is really leaving himself susceptible to somebody bringing 5 even, which is not a high number. 6 is high, which is what the Langobar player brought, but 5 is not a very high number. And you can lose straight up to 5 bows, at which point your Agathyrsis are very open to being attacked with bows. In general, I think it was not very good tactics or strategy from Danko, and that is something that he should probably look at when he's going for his next build.
Well, basically he had disadvantage in terms of skirmishing and the disadvantage in terms of cavalry. The only advantage he had was in his main line, main core with the 6 elite Agathyrsi warriors. That's like the big part of his army, which couldn't really do what it needed to do because it was just kited by those archers, and it didn't really manage to get into the fight and do the damage. So Panda just engaged on the flanks and then kited in the center away from those Agathyrsi and made those Agathyrsi warriors useless because they couldn't connect. So until they lost a lot of men to those archers. But yep, that is game currently 2-0 for Panda Warrior. He is on match point right now. So if he wins one more game, he's going to advance to the semis of this tournament. See you in game 3.
See you in game 3. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, boys, girls, in betweens, none of the aboves. This is Admiral Price bringing you another Attila tournament match between Agony Panda Warrior and Danko, and I am brought to you with my co-caster, the Prussian Prince.
Hello.
Hello indeed. Danko is playing as the recently buffed but not very much Huns, and the Panda Warrior is playing with the Saxons.
Mm-hmm. Oh, something to keep in mind is that the Warriors actually got their bonus versus infantry reduced, so in a way the Huns also got nerfed.
They also got nerfed at the same time they got buffed, but the Warriors are still quite good.
Yes.
Don't think that they're not good anymore just because they got a little bit of nerf. It's a minor nerf. It means that they probably won't beat certain infantry units right up front as they used to, or they won't win as handedly as they used to. Yes. But they are still quite good units. So, did it start yet?
No, it hasn't started yet. It's still in deployment phase.
Okay, I'll put my camera in such a way that I can see the red lines or the yellow line. All right, Panda is ready.
Huns versus Saxons. Interesting matchup, but thing is, the Saxons, they have Nordic horse lords.
Here we go.
So they will have pretty good cav advantage normally over the Huns with Nordic horse lords. And then they have the Nordic axe warriors, which are insanely good cavalry for supporting cavalry or charging into wars. They will do very well in that regard. Very nice shock infantry indeed. But I guess I'm actually gonna go over Panda's build once more. He has Nordic Warlord with Brace, usual, to bring Brace on your general. Center contingent is composed of 3 Hearth Guards. Very nice units for holding. They have decent armor and health, and above all, they have shield wall. They are supported by Gesiktas, 1 on each of their flanks, it seems, so 2 in total. Then on the far left, we have 2 Nordic Axe Warriors supporting 3 Nordic Horse Lords, and basically the same thing on the far right. So I really like this build by Panda, and he has 4 Nordic bows up front as well. Let's see, what does Danko have?
Danko has a fairly rush-heavy build with 2 step bows and 6 Uar warriors in the center, then 2 Hunnic dismounted warband to support his elite Hunnic Lancer cavalry, 2 on the left, 3 on the right. Rather, 2 on the right with 1 noble step cataphract on the to support them on the right as well, and a Hunnic dismounted, a step warlord in the center. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, that is 6 cavalry. So he is within the game limits. What do you think is the strategy that Danko is trying to pursue with this army?
Well, it looks like the central part of his build is the Ur warriors. So it looks like he wants to use them to get a charge on the center of Panda, but that's going to be really difficult because, I mean, those units can go into shield wall, and if he charges in improperly, he's going to get Nordic Horse Lords into his Urs, and that's never a good thing. And besides, he can't win any of his flanks because he has Hunnic dismounted warbands supporting, which are honestly not so great units. Whereas we have Nordic Axe Warriors supporting for Panda Warrior, which are far better in that role. So if the engagement is to start on the flanks, Panda is definitely going to win, I think.
I agree. This is, again, a situation where Danko has brought an army where he is improperly supporting the core of his force. The core of his force is this Uar warrior core. However, he loses the cavalry engagement, and he has nothing to support the cavalry engagement.
Overextension.
Oh, and here we have...
Yeah, this is an overextension, but Panda is being too slow with his Nordic Axe Warriors. He didn't send them in immediately, so...
Right on the charge, those Nordic Horse Lord lost 15 to 20 men each. And if he cannot get support in here, he could actually lose this cavalry engagement.
Yeah, I mean, his Nordic Axe Warriors came in far too late, I think, so this is not really good for Panda. But he got a really nice charge here, by the way. He caught those infantry units as well with his Nordic Horse Lords, so that's really good.
Indeed.
Now his Axe Warriors coming in. It's gonna do massive damage.
And here, Danko is trying to bring his general around, but the left flank is probably lost for Danko.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Danko, yeah, with the Step Warlord General in there, that is an incredibly risky move because he's going to be fighting all those Nordic Horse Lords and the Axe Warrior, which is going to cut him down pretty quickly, so they might lose his general here, which would be a huge problem for him. Over here, the engagement going very well for Danko. His Nordic Horse Lords is killing that elite Hunnic Lancer. That's very good.
As expected.
Panda, yeah, and we have the shield wall in play here. It's going to hold a while against the Ur warriors, and while Panda mops up the right flank. And look at Danko's general already dropping to 45, and it's gonna start dropping quicker and quicker as HP is lost on the unit.
And to be honest here, this is the very same kind of thing that we talked about before with Danko. When he sees the deployment like that, I think it would have been better if he had moved his Uar warriors, one from each side to the side to try to support that cavalry engagement. But even then, that Hunnic cavalry was not going to do anything against the Nordic Horse Lords. I'm really not sure what he could have done, honestly, to win this battle.
Yeah.
Just with the build he brought.
I think he should have put the oars on the flanks instead. Because if you put the oars on the flanks, you have better support for your cavalry than the general is dead. So now it's basically going to be over for Danko. But with the oars on the flanks, it would have been easier for him to start the cavalry engagement. And I mean, if he attacks the center, like, Panda is just going to kite with his bows. But once again, it felt like he was just chasing the archers with his oar warriors. So it's not a good situation to be in. While the Panda was mopping up the flanks.
When you have a such a rush build, and the opponent brings a stronger archer contingent like that, the last thing you want to do is just keep chasing the archers. It's just going to end up very badly for you. On the flanks, just Panda had better cavalry, and you have to recognize that when you bring the Huns, you are not going to win a straight-up cavalry fight.
Yeah, and he had better support for his cavalry as well.
Exactly.
Warriors, which make a big difference.
And the Uar warriors in the center, they're not going to be able to really come into play until that cavalry is engaged, and the opponent is really not able to kite without significant issues.
Yep. So looks like it's gonna be a quick 3-0 by Panda Warrior. This is a best of 5. He won the match, and he's going to advance to the semi-finals. I wonder who his opponent is going to be. I'm gonna take a look at the brackets. Well, we don't know yet, but it's gonna be... Actually, we do. His opponent is going to be Attila from USSR clan. Should be an interesting matchup, indeed. But yeah, that's... I'm not sure if there's much else to say. I think we covered the game pretty well. And look at those axes. So many kills. 224, 127, 141, 139.
Insane.
Yep.
Insane. Those Lancers will die to axes, and those dismounted hunting warband will just die to lances. Yeah. I mean, to axes.
Best unit for Danko, best cavalry unit, 53 kills. That's his best unit. Definitely not worth it. Whereas if you look at the Nordic Horse Lords, we have 102, 76, 96, 60. Definitely cavalry did more for Panda, and his axe support was good. Just those oars, like, again, can't really chase the center. And just chasing archers isn't gonna win you the game while you're losing the flanks.
I remember the army that Achilles brought that was very effective was he had 6 Uars and then 4 Bosphorus warriors, Bosphorus infantry, and then like 3 Bosphorus warriors or something like that. And then he had he was crazy with his infantry. Yes. And then he had really cheap step lancers. He had 4 of them, and I think maybe he didn't have 1 Bosphorus warrior, and he brought like 2 step bows, or no, sorry, he brought 4 step bows.
I preferred that build. Yeah.
And the idea of this build is, I mean, 1, you have so much infantry, it's crazy. Right? But 2, you're very obvious about how you are going to win with this army. You're going to win with your Uars, and the way that he deploys his step lancers is he doesn't put them on the flanks, he puts them right in the front, and he makes this giant boxish formation, but it's not really a box because there's no spears, and he goes right up to the opponent. And then he constantly goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to goad him into attacking. And then finds that single moment where the opponent's cavalry is out of position and engages with his step lancers. But because of the way that his step lancers are so close to his formation, that means that he is going to be able to support with all of his infantry. And because of that, you'll never be able to get the situation where it's just your very outmatched cavalry against their cavalry.
Yeah.
You will always have a very heavy support of your infantry simply because the cavalry is placed so close to the rest of your infantry.
Yeah, once again, Danko overextending. That's the previous game, but I think that does it for us for now. So, if you guys enjoyed our commentary, if you want to see more, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus as usual, and subscribe to Admiral Price on YouTube and follow him on Twitch as well. Any closing thoughts?
I really have to say that I was unimpressed with Agony Panda Warriors cavalry play, and I think that if there is one weakness in his game, it is his cavalry play, and that is something that a really good opponent might be able to exploit.
All right, we shall see you next time, which might be soon.